if that's okay.
Yes, please, Leader.
Thank you. Okay, well, prynawn da pawb. Good afternoon, everybody.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Councillor Rogers. Welcome along to this afternoon's Cabinet meeting of Merthyr Tydfil County Borough Council on Wednesday, the 3rd of November. Colleagues, just to remind you that today's meeting will be recorded and that recording may be broadcast on the authority's internet. Okay, so we'll jump straight into the agenda, and at agenda item number 1, are there any apologies for absence?
No apologies for absence received, Chair.
Thank you. And secondly, declarations of interest. Colleagues, are there any declarations of interest for this afternoon's Cabinet? No? Okay, so we'll move straight into the open session then. Portfolio items first of all, and agenda item number 3 is the Cwm Taf Morgannwg Safeguarding Board Annual Report for 2020-2021 to consider a report of the Chief Officer of Social Services. And Councillor Tony Rogers, I believe you're taking this item for me.
And thank you very much,
Madam
Chairman. Cwm Taf Morgannwg Safeguarding Board Annual Report 2020-21. The summary report, the purpose of the report is to share with Cabinet the annual report for 2021 for the Cwm Taf Morgannwg Safeguarding Board. The Cwm Taf Morgannwg Safeguarding Board has a statutory responsibility to publish an annual report each year to demonstrate its effectiveness in exercising its functions in the procedural financial year. Introduction and background. The Cwm Taf Morgannwg Safeguarding Board is a statutory partnership made up of the agencies that are responsible for safeguarding children and adults at risk in RCT, Merthyr Tydfil Bridgend. The aim of the board is to ensure that people of all ages are protected from abuse, neglect, or other kinds of harm. This also involves preventing abuse, neglect of other kinds of harm and from happening. The summary of key achievements for 2020-21 at 4.1, the board published an annual plan on 30th of March 2020, setting out its priorities for safeguarding children, young people and adults. As the board slowed down non-critical activities due to the pandemic, it was unable to fully implement this annual plan this year. However, some work is carried out to progress with its priorities, and additional work as a result of the pandemic also emerged. From 4.2 to 4.5, you see the key achievements. There are no financial implications, and at 2.0 to 2.1 is the recommendation, and the recommendation is the content of the Cwm Taf Morgannwg Safeguarding Board Annual Report for 2021 be noted and endorsed. And Madam Chairman, I so move.
Thank you, Councillor Rogers. Colleagues, do I have a seconder to that report, please?
Yes, please, Chair. I'd like to second that.
Thank you, Councillor Hughes. Colleagues, are there any questions in relation to this report, please? Questions? Councillor Geraint-Thomas.
Thank you, Chair. Does the board come in front of our scrutiny committee at all throughout the year?
Let me just check if Lisa's on, if Councillor Rogers isn't sure. Angela's here. Ange?
Yeah, I don't believe the board comes to scrutiny. Currently, the chair of the Cwm Taf Morgannwg board is Paul, me from RCT, the director. So I'm not really sure if there'd been expectation for it to come to the scrutiny committee, because there's a board in its own right.
Okay, I got a follow-up question then, Chair. Is it possible then that Mr. Mayor could come in and speak and present to tell us what the board does as a cabinet? I think that would be very useful.
Okay, Councillor Thomas, just to so Paul Mears is the chair of the Cwm Taf Morgannwg Health Board, and then you have Paul Mears, who's the chair of the Safeguarding Board. Just to clarify that for colleagues.
Paul Mead.
Yes, of course.
Yeah.
So we can note that action and certainly request even scrutiny can have that as part of their forward work programme as well. So I'm sure that if it's agreed, we can note that down. If not, come to full council as an overview, certainly to scrutiny as an overview, I'm sure. Angela, I don't know if you want to add anything to that?
I'm sure if it's around the role of the board, I'm sure Lisa would be able to provide you with details of the role of the board and what it undertakes, rather than asking a colleague from another authority. So Lisa was previously one of the joint chairs, so she would be fully able to appraise scrutiny our cabinet on the role of the board.
Okay, thank you, Angela. Geraint, can you just bear with me a second? I can see the Chief Executive has got his hand up. Ellis?
Leader, that's exactly what I was going to suggest, that that in the first instance we answer any questions by an internal briefing by obviously our statutory director, and I think outlining the architecture of how that safeguard board fits into the regional structure is probably the best starting point. If then there's a requirement, as Councillor Thomas, which is the further explanation from potentially the chair, we can look at how we facilitate that. But you may have all your answers in that first briefing from an internal point of view.
Okay, thank you, Ellis. Councillor Thomas, are you satisfied with that course of action? Okay, thank you. Colleagues, are there any other questions? If not, I shall move on to observations and/or comments. Are there any observations or comments, please? Councillor Thomas.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. I've had trouble over the weekend really reading this report, and to endorse it today. I've had a number of residents pass away over the last year through neglect, in the Merthyr Tydfil area. So, I would like the report to be noted, but to be endorsed, I'm not too sure, Chair, and I don't know how we take that forward.
Okay, Councillor Thomas, I'm just going to add to you, shall we say alleged neglect in the case of you dealing with residents, or whether there is particular evidence to quantify that or clarify that. But in relation to the recommendation, are you suggesting then, whereas it says be noted and endorsed, you are asking for it to be amended to just be noted and not endorsed? Okay, what I'll do. Oh, thank you. What I'll do in the first instance is I'll just ask Councillor Rogers if he's happy to do that as the person who was taking the report. Councillor Rogers, would that be okay with you?
Yeah, I'm happy with that, because the previous debate about transparency, I'm all for that. And Councillor Thomas has some arguments or whatever, so I think we should take note of people. It's so important. I'd accept that myself. I'd have no trouble accepting it.
Great, thank you, Councillor Rogers. So just to confirm then, with regards to the recommendation, it'll be, it's agreed to be the content of the Cwm Taf Morgannwg Safeguarding Board Annual Report for 2021 be noted. Monitoring Officer, can I just check if that's acceptable?
That is something that you can do. There's no reason why you can't change the recommendation in that way. Have I frozen on your screen? Or because I've frozen on my screen.
You're okay with me.
There we are. I think we just do need to be very careful about the language in this, which is a public meeting, because clearly if there were failings, they would need to be investigated as part of a proper process. But there's no reason why you can't change the recommendation in the way you've suggested. So now your recommendation, which is before you to consider and vote on, is whether the report should be noted.
Okay.
And also, I think, Madam Chairman, I think I'm correct. Or Carish will stop me, I'm sure he will. I think you have to have the consent of the seconder as well, if I'm correct.
No, I think the person moving the recommendation, okay. Councillor Rogers, they can change that recommendation, right. So that will be fine. But I'm sure if anybody disagreed, they can tell us now anyway.
Okay, so thank you, Councillor Rogers. Thank you, Councillor Thomas. Colleagues, are there any other observations or comments in relation to the report or matters that have just been discussed? No? Okay. In that case, we'll go straight to the vote then, please. So just to reiterate that recommendation is amended to 2.1, the content of the Cwm Taf Morgannwg Safeguarding Board Annual Report for 2020-21 be noted. And Councillor Rogers, you did move that. Councillor Hughes, can I just confirm you're now happy to second that
Yeah,
again?
that's okay.
Yes, I am,
Happy?
Chair. I'm happy with that.
Thank you both. Then I'll go straight to the vote. Would all those councillors in favour of the recommendation please vote now? Okay,
That's carried, Chair.
that is carried. Okay, just bear with me. Thank you, colleagues. Colleagues, I'm going to move to agenda item number 4, and that is to deal with, at this point, any other... Sorry, can you lower your hands, please? Thank you. Agenda item number 4, any other business deemed urgent by the chair. I have no other business deemed urgent by myself, so therefore I'm going to move straight into the closed session. And can I ask for somebody to move a section 100, please?
Happy to move section to the chair, and that's what I put my hand up for.
Oh, was it? Well, you were a little bit eager, Councillor Thomas, but thank you for your eagerness. And do I have a seconder for that, please?
Yeah, sir.
Yeah.
Somebody?
Lovely.
Yeah.
Thank you both for that. Okay. Can I just make sure, monitoring officer, there are no members of the